How can we ensure that AfCFTA promotes transformation to more efficient, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable agri-food systems on the continent, including least developed countries and landlocked developing countries? Maximo, you have the floor. 3 to 4 minutes if you can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. This is a very important question, and no doubt the AfCFTA will bring substantial benefits to the African continent that this has been previously presented. UNECA estimates that AfCFTA could boost intra-African trade by 52.3% once import duties and non-tariff barriers are eliminated. With regard to agricultural and food trade, we must not forget that currently intra-Africa trade exports represent only about 1/4 of the continent's total agricultural exports. And import tariff, non-tariff barriers such as food safety standards and poor infrastructure are major factors behind this. So it's not only also an issue of more trade, more revenue, but it's also an issue of more resilience, because it's another way in which you can have different outlets to move your produce. Now, the establishment of the AfCFTA will significantly promote interregional trade in agri-food products, as we have been supporting this through FAO, which is, again, projected by UNECA to be 20 to 30% higher in 2040 compared to a situation without the Continental Free Trade Agreement. Moreover, AfCFTA will also help to diversify exports by creating a larger market for goods other than extractives, and this should create jobs, boost incomes, and support development in major sectors. However, as you correctly pointed out in your question, there are concerns that such benefits of expanded market access will mainly accrue to those countries that already have higher productive capacities. The continent is indeed made up of 54 very diverse countries. Some are insignificant net food importers today, example, countries in North Africa. Others are competitive exporters, example, South Africa. Moreover, countries in Africa have different levels of economic development. There are 33 LDCs and different natural resources endowments and geographical characteristics. So interregional trade can therefore accelerate inequalities within the countries, and that's what we need to avoid. So what do we do in order to mitigate the potential negative impacts of trade liberalization on livelihoods and food security of vulnerable populations, and instead to ensure that everyone benefits from expansion in trade? And here we need to learn from what other regions of the world have done and other countries. And two things need to happen. First, there is a need to adequate flexibility for countries at different levels of development, allowing, for instance, additional transition periods in the implementation of the AfCFTA. This is already recognized as one of the key principles, especially in different treatment, that govern the AfCFTA. And this is very similar to what happened in Europe, for example, when the European Union was set up. At the same time, complementary policies are needed to address the structural barriers to trade. A holistic and coherent policy approach is required to formulate and implement a set of comprehensive and aligned policies. And this will be critical, and it's something that we need to do. Now, which are examples of these complementary policies? First, adequate safety net measures and risk mitigating programs, which are needed to protect populations that could be affected by import competition. If trade flows faster, then there will be countries that will be in advantage of selling to other countries, which today you have some farmers that were producing those commodities. And that substitution could create an effect over the population. And that's why we need to have these safety net measures in place, to be able to reorient their activities, to be able to support them through this transition period. Agricultural development programs that promote productivity improvements, which are urgently needed for more countries to benefit from expanded market access within the continent. This implies public investments in research and development, training and extension, and programs promoting access to high quality inputs, seeds, fertilizers, machinery, as well as trade and financial markets. Similarly, public investments in marketing and trade infrastructure, particularly last mile infrastructure, electricity and water provision, and ICTs plays also a crucial role here, and which will be fundamental to create an enabling environment for private investments. And finally, adequate regulatory and institutional frameworks will also promote the adoption of trade-related digital technologies, such as electronic certificates like the eFITO. In fact, greater levels of interregional trade through the AfCFTA can be a catalyst for these types of reforms and investments to happen. Fortunately, Africa already has a Continental Agricultural Development Program, the Comprehensive Africa Agricultural Development Program, the CARAP, that can complement the AfCFTA and serve as a crucial instrument to streamline national and regional agricultural investments in a way of ensuring that all share the benefits of trade. It's important that we use all these tools. FAO is happy to support the AOC and the African countries towards this direction. The hand-in-hand initiative, for example, is an innovative, comprehensive, and fully integrated approach within the aim to accelerate agricultural transformation and sustainable rural development. The initiative can facilitate the implementation of the AfCFTA, and hand-in-hand already includes a number of countries in Africa, and we look forward to strengthening this collaboration in the future, because we believe that if we do it properly, and we look at the areas that will be affected, and we work with them, we can give them new opportunities that will also make them benefit from this interregional trade. Thank you very much. Back to you.